Bud got a great email question for us to kind of wrap up the evening. Another one is good, simple one that comes in from Diane. And Diane writes tonight, how do you determine if an injury is because of your neglect, someone else's neglect, your fault, or just bad luck? And I saw this email question come in 2 weeks ago, and I thought this would be perfect for the show. I love the part, the bad luck part, because sometimes there is bad luck. Sure. Jim, how do you evaluate that when they come in?
Well, here's what we do as lawyers, and here's how you kind of analyze this if you actually go try a case. And so when you're talking about negligence, you're saying basically what would a reasonable person have done differently or should have done in this case? And did this person act reasonably under the circumstances? And that's, you know, it sounds like that's sort of a soft definition. It is.
Right.
Just different in different cases. And so what we do as attorneys is try to look at a case, and there are precedent for other cases that are published and what the juries have returned in terms of results on those cases. So whether somebody was reasonable, you know, just to go back to the car wreck incidents.
Right.
Were they speeding? Were they keeping a proper distance? Were they texting? All those things would go into determining whether they were acting reasonably,
right,
and whether that then, if they weren't, whether that caused the accident.
Right.
And so it's a case-by-case basis. When I was in law school years ago, they would say, you know, what would Jimmy Stewart do? He was
Jimmy Stewart.
He was considered the reasonable guy,
the reasonable man
so
of America.
Nobody would relate to Jimmy Stewart probably now with our audience, but probably Tom Hanks. Ask yourself, what would Tom Hanks do? What would he have done in this situation? How would he have acted? And you know, that's your reasonable man.
Yeah, that sounds good. Hey, we were talking a little bit earlier. You were going over the steps that you need to do after an accident. Jim, I want you to talk about what you don't need to do on your social media account, because that is just a huge factor now when somebody's looking at you. Yeah,
probably the biggest thing that people have done to damage their case, you know, in the last 15 years since social media has become prominent, is big. Go on social media for some reason. And I'm not judging people here, but people think they need to put their entire lives on social media.
Sure.
That could be problematic even when you don't have a case. But when you have a case and you're posting things, you can be assured that at some point the company's attorneys that you're going against are going to go on that website or go on that Facebook site and look at everything you've ever posted. And you can easily get yourself in trouble if you're posting and saying things about your incident or your accident, about what your attorneys told you or didn't, anything like that. Once you are involved in litigation, I really tell my clients to just stay off social media. If you post something, if you want to post a photograph of a family member, something like that, but you don't need to be on there talking about your day-to-day life. It's ammunition for somebody to cross-examine you and to trip up your case.
Jim, will they go so far as to look at your wife's account and your kid's account?
Absolutely.
All of that's free.
Absolutely.
So if you've had so maybe there's nothing on your account, but then they've got a picture of you playing volleyball and you've got a back injury claim.
The less said, the better. And we don't represent people, you know, that claim they have back injuries that don't. But you know, you can take a photograph. I can take a photograph as a skilled attorney that somebody's posted and make that person look like they're not telling the truth, even though they are. Because people get out and do things, and when they're hurt, and you try to do things. Not to say you're just sitting around the house all the time, but it can trip you up, and it's just really can complicate things very quickly, and it's all self-inflicted. It's all completely unnecessary. There's no upside when you have a pending case to going on social media and posting anything about your personal life, certainly not about your accident, absolutely never about what your attorney and you have talked about.
Oh yeah, absolutely.